Hey Chiefs Kingdom, what's up? Get ready, because today we're diving into a huge developing story that could completely shake up the future of the Kansas City Chiefs. The draft is right around the corner, and something unexpected is starting to build momentum behind the scenes. We're talking about a rising name, a potential surprise at pick number 9, and a situation that could define how this defense looks for years to come. And trust me, this is not the direction most fans were expecting just a few weeks ago. So stay with me until the end, because not only are we breaking down this possible move, but we're also connecting the dots on what it means for the entire roster, and why this could be a risky but brilliant gamble by the Kansas City Chiefs. The buzz is growing louder, and insiders are starting to piece things together. With the Chiefs holding the number 9 overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, there's a lot of mystery surrounding their intentions. Most projections had them leaning offense or maybe a safe defensive pick. But now, a new name is climbing up draft boards and entering the conversation in a serious way. And when analysts start shifting their tone this close to draft day, you know something real is happening behind closed doors in Kansas City. Let's talk about that name, Jermod McCoy, a young, explosive cornerback who has quietly turned himself into one of the most intriguing prospects in this entire class. At just 20 years old, McCoy is still developing, but his upside is absolutely undeniable. And that's exactly the kind of high-ceiling player the Kansas City Chiefs have targeted in the past. But here's where things get interesting and a little risky. McCoy started making noise back in 2023 as a freshman at Oregon State. He wasn't just filling a role, he was making plays. 31 tackles, 7 pass breakups, and 2 interceptions in his first college season. That's not just solid, that's impactful for a freshman corner. You could already see the instincts, the speed, and the confidence that made scouts start paying attention. Then came the transfer to Tennessee in 2024, and that's when everything took off. McCoy didn't just improve, he elevated his entire game. 44 tackles, 9 passes defended, and 4 interceptions. Those are numbers that scream future star at the next level. And earning second-team All-American honors? That's when he officially put himself on the NFL radar in a big way. But just when his momentum was peaking, everything came to a halt. In January of 2025, McCoy suffered a torn ACL while training. A devastating injury that wiped out his entire season. And just like that, one of the hottest prospects in college football became one of the biggest question marks in the draft. Now here's where the story flips again, and why the Chiefs might be paying very close attention. Over a year removed from that injury, McCoy showed up at Tennessee's Pro Day and absolutely crushed it. A 4.38 in the 40-yard dash. A 38-inch vertical. Those are elite numbers, especially for someone coming off an ACL tear. That performance didn't just answer questions, it reignited his draft stock in a big way. So now the big question. Are the Kansas City Chiefs willing to take that gamble at pick number 9? Because make no mistake, this would be a gamble. You're betting on upside, recovery, and long-term development. But if it hits, you could be looking at a lockdown corner for the next decade. And let's be real, this team has never been afraid to take calculated risks. Now let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture. The Chiefs' defensive needs are starting to come into focus. Cornerback and edge rusher are clearly at the top of the priority list right now. And when you look at the current roster situation, it makes total sense why. The pass rush has been inconsistent over the last 2 seasons. The sack numbers just haven't been where they need to be. And with Chris Jones getting older, the urgency to bring in young, explosive talent is growing. That's why the Chiefs have been heavily linked to several edge rushers during their pre-draft visits. Names like Reuben Bain Jr., David Bailey, and Arvell Reese have all been on their radar. And when a team invests that much time in a position group, it usually means something is coming. But here's where things get even more interesting. Despite all the attention on edge rushers, the cornerback situation might actually be more urgent. Losing key starters in the secondary has created a noticeable gap that needs to be filled. And while this draft class is deep at cornerback, elite talent at the top is always tempting. So the Chiefs are facing a classic draft dilemma. Do you go safe and address depth later? Or do you swing big early and secure a potential star like McCoy? That decision could define this entire draft class. Another factor to consider is the Chiefs' draft capital. They have 4 picks in the top 75, giving them flexibility to attack multiple positions, which means even if they go corner early, they can still address edge rusher soon after. That kind of flexibility is exactly what makes this situation so fascinating. Now let me ask you this, Chiefs Kingdom, would you take the risk? Would you spend the 9th overall pick on a player coming off an ACL injury, even with that kind of upside? Or would you play it safe and go with a more proven, healthy prospect? Because this is the kind of decision that separates good teams from great ones. And if there's one thing we know about the Kansas City Chiefs, they trust their process. They trust their evaluations. And they're not afraid to go against the grain. So if McCoy is their guy, don't be surprised if they pull the trigger. And if that happens, remember, you heard it here first. This could be one of those draft moments we look back on years from now as a turning point. Or it could be a risk that didn't pay off. That's the beauty and the drama of the NFL draft. Alright, Chiefs Kingdom, now it's your turn. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Should the Chiefs draft Jermod McCoy at number 9? Or go in a different direction? And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with every Chiefs fan you know. Because draft season is heating up, and we're just getting started. Fire, and just when you think you've got the Kansas City Chiefs figured out, another twist hits the table. Because there's one more layer to this story that nobody is talking about enough, and it could completely change how we view this entire draft strategy. We've talked about Jermod McCoy, we've talked about the risk, the upside, the injury comeback. But what if this isn't just about one player? What if this is about a complete defensive reset? A long-term vision that the Chiefs are quietly building right in front of us. Think about it for a second. Over the past few seasons, the identity of the Kansas City Chiefs has been evolving. Yes, the offense still grabs headlines. Yes, the big plays still define moments. But defensively, there's been a clear shift toward youth, speed, and versatility. And the 2026 NFL Draft might be the moment where that transformation goes all in. If the Chiefs do take a cornerback early, especially someone like McCoy, it signals something bigger. It means they're prioritizing coverage, trusting their ability to generate pressure through scheme, and investing in the secondary as the foundation of their defense. That's a bold philosophical move, and one that could pay off in a big way in today's pass-heavy NFL. But don't sleep on the edge rusher situation either, because this is where things could get really strategic. With multiple picks in the top 75, the Chiefs are in a prime position to double dip on defense. Imagine this scenario: you grab a high-upside corner at number 9, and then come back with a high-motor, explosive edge rusher at 29 or early in the second round. Now suddenly, you've addressed 2 major needs without sacrificing value. And that's exactly how championship rosters are built, through balance, depth, and smart risk management. Another angle that fans need to consider is how the rest of the league could impact Kansas City's decision. Drafts are unpredictable. Players rise, players fall, and sometimes the board doesn't go the way you expect. If a top edge rusher falls to number 9, do the Chiefs pivot? Or do they stick to their board and take their guy no matter what? That's where front office discipline becomes everything. And historically, the Kansas City Chiefs have shown they are willing to stay patient and trust their evaluations. Now here's something else that could be flying under the radar: trade possibilities. Don't be shocked if the Chiefs explore moving up, or even trading back. If they believe McCoy or another target could still be there later, trading down could give them even more ammunition to build out this roster. More picks, more flexibility, more chances to hit on impact players. But if they feel like their guy won't last, that's when things get aggressive. That's when you see teams make bold moves that define drafts. And let's be honest, the Chiefs are no strangers to bold moves. Now let's bring it back to you, Chiefs Kingdom, because this is where your voice matters. This is where the debate really starts heating up. Are you all in on a high-upside player like McCoy? Do you trust the medical recovery and believe in the long-term payoff? Or do you want the Chiefs to play it safe and go after a more polished, proven prospect? And what about edge rusher? Should that be the top priority no matter what? These are the decisions that shape the future of the Kansas City Chiefs. And in just a couple of weeks, we're going to get our answers. Until then, the speculation, the rumors, and the excitement are only going to keep building. So make sure you stay locked in, because we're going to be covering every twist, every update, and every breaking piece of Kansas City Chiefs news right here. If you're as hyped as I am for this draft, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with your fellow Chiefs fans. And don't forget, drop your predictions in the comments. Who do you want at number 9? Because one thing is certain, the Kansas City Chiefs are cooking something up, and we're about to find out exactly what it is. Fire.